anyone wants to look at it again or wants to look at it for the first time. So are we ready to get started? Yes? Yes? No, not yet. Here's South Africa coming in. So we're going to get started with the Quantum Body Seminar class. Oh, there's somebody from California. So obviously we all seem to come from somewhere, and we all believe that we are from there and that we live there. So I don't know if after this hour, if you still think that way. We'll see what happens. Because this is the quantum body class, and it is a bit of a different way of looking at everything. And today there's so much, say, beautiful material coming to me that I love to share. So there are visitors again. You see that in class too, there are some visitors, but also in our, say, on our sojourn, in our discovery, there will be some timeless visitors. Meister Eckhart will come around, and science will be there. And Master Teacher of A Course in Miracles will be there too. And who knows who might, say, walk in. So it's a real, like there's incredible support from out of time to help us to use this not just as new information about quantum physics or about healing or about the body. Not just that, no. It goes way far more than that. Otherwise, we would possibly end up with another religion, like the quantum healing religion or something. It's like, no, this is different, because not to make it special, but more like, no, this brings it closer to the reality of who you are, and that is how this is going to be applied. And that means that the quantum physics insights that we share can actually become a direct experience for you, and actually are a direct experience of you, but you didn't realize that. You were not aware of it. So this is the place where it becomes really interesting, and where I get really excited when I read it, because everything is like pointing in the same direction. And it has everything to do with realization. So it has not to do with collecting intellectual facts about quantum physics. So if that was your goal to achieve in this class, yeah, you might want to stop listening. So this is really about this is going to do something with you. So it's a very experiential class, in fact. And so you might feel that too, energetically. It's like, whoa, I'm already getting hot. I'm getting excited here. I can't wait to read more and to see more, because of the possibility to have a different experience of myself. So starting with that, I want to do an exercise together that will help us to calm down and to come into a sphere, like into a mindset of receptivity and connectivity, of course. And connectivity doesn't sound good in the sense of, now it is like realizing that there is a connection, there's a communication, there's a unity that we tap into, like a unified force field, you would say in the quantum physics. There's a unified force field where you're part of, always. And yeah, you can make use of it, of course, because you're part of it, you're in the middle of it. So the exercise that I want to do to relax and slow down in order to speed up is this. We do this almost like a guided meditation, a relaxation, a meditation. And so I would suggest to sit back and relax, and to start breathing to your belly, relaxed, breathing out. Almost like grounding yourself a little bit, like, oh yes, I'm sitting here, I'm not anywhere else. I'm present here, and I want to have that fully in my awareness. What is going on in this moment, in this place, in this time, in this setup, in this body, in this universe, in this place. So breathe into that. And breathe out. So release whatever you can. And breathe in through your nose. Just slowly but gently and deep at the same time. And then you hold it for just a moment before you breathe out. And you breathe out a little longer. And then you have a little break too. So then you breathe in again through your nose. And hold it just right there for a moment. And then you start breathing out again. And you breathe out just a little longer. So the breathing in almost goes automatically because it's like, okay, yeah, there it goes. And then you breathe out a little bit longer. Okay, so this helps you to slow down and to relax. So, and then at the same time, we're going to do a little like thought experiment. And that is this, it's like, well, close your eyes and see all the, say, images that you just saw a moment ago. Like they're gone. They're gone, that's for one thing. So there was nothing of matter that you saw. You saw images. You saw faces talking. You saw little faces talking. All seemed to come from different directions of the globe. You saw all these kinds of things, but it actually was not material at all. But were you aware of that when you were talking and speaking and watching this? No, probably not. It's like you really thought there was someone there talking to you. Well, this is the interesting part. Like you come to recognize more and more and more that you are the one who sees it. You're the one believing it. You're the one thinking that there are different people somewhere and that you can talk to them. While it's actually a hologram. You saw this really, really great. Like that's where a screen is actually helpful. It's pure light. It's just light, nothing else. And well, we get to the other side of that too. It's like it's not just light. You will see that too. But anyway, so you have seen these images. You see that they came from you because they cannot come from anywhere else. And you for the first time consciously saw a hologram of light. It's like, that's a hologram. I saw something that appears as a form, but is not a form at all because it is a screen I'm looking at. It's flat. It's not three-dimensional at all. In the meantime, we keep breathing and relaxing deeply. Breathing out a little bit longer. Breathing in slowly but deep. Holding it for just a moment and breathing out a little bit longer. So this is one part of it. So now we go the other way. So you were the, say, witness of this. You saw this happening. You saw this in front of you. But that was also an idea of you. You actually thought that you saw it. And there's nothing, say, inside your system that can actually see light. It's not possible. So what was it then? It was It was an idea. It was, say, a reflection of a thought. So now this time, it is like the first time you consciously saw the reflection of light, of an idea that you literally projected into this dream that you saw. Because now when you close your eyes, it's completely gone, and you seem to be sitting in your own room, in your own chair, in your own place, in your own location, in your own time. So too, in the next step then is, in the realization of who you truly are, we're getting one step further now. So it's like you realize that all this that you just saw reflected is not the reality of who you are. No, it's a reflection of what you are thinking. So that part, so to speak, lives by itself, by your attention. And when you move the attention the other way around, going inward, and slowing down and breathing like we do, slowly breathing in a little bit deeper, and slowly breathing out, slowly, but a little bit longer. You go to this place inside yourself, where the appearances, where these light reflections and associations that you have with it are no longer have any meaning. So you sink slowly deeper inside yourself and feel, try to feel also your consciousness, like where are the edges of my consciousness, where does it stop? Where is my consciousness? Where does it end? Where are the outer edges of it? Is it expanding? Is it wide? Can I feel it? Can I see it? So you have your own experience with that. Like, can you feel that light is present in it too? Because there is light present, but it seems to be of a different quality than the light that you're used to perceiving with your eyes. So this is really essential, like essential in the sense of, I can't believe it, that I'm actually able to become conscious of that. My awareness is expanding. How great is that? How great is that? So now, like I said in the beginning, there's a unified force field. And so can you feel that? Does it have to do with your body and all that? Well, since you have your eyes closed, probably, try this. Try to move your hands closer to one another. And let me know when you feel the energy in your hands, or make it noticeable to yourself. Like, can you feel that there's like a magnetic field between your hands, like a force field? Oh yeah, you can feel that. Wow, that's interesting. See, now the thing that is moving your hands, isn't that amazing too, to feel that? It's like my hands are moving, but they're actually doing it themselves, isn't it? It's like, it really feels like that. Okay, so this is just a little introduction to the, say, the light body, or the quantum field body that you carry with you and are completely a part of. So you can open your eyes again if you feel like doing that. And so the most important thing here is then that you saw with the hologram, for instance, you look at the screen, you really think that there are people out there, you really think that they are from somewhere, and of course in our in our agreement that we have as human beings, like human reference, we say that is true. And so now that's being turned around a little bit, because you discover it's like, well, I'm actually sitting in front of a screen, and I'm not able to perceive light at all. And it's not that I'm blind, but actually there's no light in my physical system at all. And my physical system is not what it appears to be either. It's like it's spacious. The atoms and the subparticles that are in the atoms are so widely removed from one another that you cannot even speak of a solid, a solid body, so to speak. So we leave this just as a discovery, because it's say that is expanding all the time. You will discover there's always more to discover, and you will say come to that in this class too today. There's more to discover. So now I sent you a little read from Master Teacher connected to, say, the first I think lesson 10 to 20 or something. So in that there's so much say quantum physics related thinking that is interesting for me. I'll take a short look at it, and then we move on to the next article that I love to use from the God Journal. If you want to check out some scientific, say, God-related quantum physics, you go to the God Journal. I will give you a link in the next email, because they're very interesting articles, all related to exactly that what you like to read right now in your awakening. And so I'm not sponsoring them or anything, but it's more like I have discoveries there all the time and think like, oh, this is so useful to share, and it's wonderful to use. So first I go to the article of Master Teacher that I sent to you. Yeah, Hologram of Light, that was the name of it. So I'm reading a little bit. So this is Master Teacher. I'm going to use science for a minute. I'm in the science of your mind, in the reasonable idea that you know perfectly well, both in time and space, there's something else going on in the activity of the power of your mind. And where we're going to find it will be in the lessons that appear to run from 11 to 15 in the book, then in the Course in Miracles, in what seem to be the first 15 days, but at any moment can be reduced to any cycle of time in which you want to recognize yourself. He has a different way of speaking, as you discover, but see, the lessons are the same. So one of the, say, science of mind principles are here. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. So just like we just said, like, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. I think I see objects there, people talking to me from a certain place in the universe, but that is actually not true. And that makes me feel a certain way. So it's like I'm upset because I see a meaningless world. If I don't realize the truth of who I am, I'm getting lost in what is this? What is going on? What am I actually looking at? Is that you or is that not you? Is that something that has value to me, yes or no? You want to know about it. So it makes you upset to see a meaningless world. And a meaningless world engenders fear. So that's also very useful to know. A meaningless world engenders fear. Because if you don't recognize yourself, the world that you see will make you afraid, because you think that there's something outside of you that can attack you, or that can do something to you, or that has power over you. So these are essential steps. I'm rushing through it. I'm aware of that. I'll come back to it. So God did not create a meaningless world. So what I see has nothing to do with what God created. My thoughts are images that I've made. So referring that back to our hologram meditation that we just did, recognizing that we were looking at a flat screen and really thinking that there are other people talking to me, just like I'm talking to you right now. It's like, no, there's nobody talking to you. This is all in the recognition of you talking to yourself. And it's like, what are you saying? What does that mean? What are you talking about? Exactly. My thoughts are images that I've made. God did not create a meaningless world. So these things are good to read because it has to be said. Thank you for that 15-day interlude in which, as you look in retrospect about the idea that in the first hour of this association we came together to show each other that in the hologram of the reflection of light in which we identify ourselves, we have been picturing. These are the first 15 lessons now. So this morning in the meditation that we had, we used the first 10 lessons. And that starts with, like, I see a meaningless world. I'm upset for the reason that I'm never upset for the reason I think, and all more good stuff like that. So bringing this back to your own experience of just a moment ago is like you realize that you're actually looking at a hologram. So it's reflecting your thoughts, and they are like not full of meaning unless you give them meaning. Then it means something to you. But if you want to take the next step in, say, coming into God realization, you will have to say, realize that this does not mean anything, that the images that you see don't mean anything, just like I did in a meditation. So now you close your eyes, you go within, you go the other way around, and you come into connection with yourself. These images that you just saw with the so-called people that you saw, they lose meaning when I go within and discover the vast space that is in there. Or maybe there's no space at all, but it was just a whole different feeling altogether. Okay, good. It makes me smile, yes. So a little, say, support here. So thank you for that. Yeah, so continue with this. See, this is not the end of the story. Otherwise, it would be very, say, sad to realize that there's a meaningless world that you're looking at and it doesn't mean anything and that it's not going to do anything for you. Just staring into a hologram by your own making. Well, that's not too much fun, is it? So there must be a different way of looking at this altogether. And I realize that I go really fast if I speak like this and bring you, like skip the whole story and bring you right away to the place where the solution would be, while I cannot give that to you directly. So I shouldn't be doing that. So that's why I pulled out an old master who knows very well also where he's talking about, Meister Eckhart. And he's our guest tonight or today in this class. We're going to read little parts of him. And so someone else is then the scientist that is actually referring to him in his scientific journal. So I'm using in the information that I give to you, that I will reference in the say on the website and in the video that I'm making, like I will reference the guy. I will send him an email too and send him the link to the video, just for the communication in the quantum field, in the unified force field that we are linked in together. So this is also the place where we go when we go inside. It's like you enter into the unified force field consciously, like you normally are in there. So then it doesn't matter anymore where you are, whether you are in New Zealand or whether you are in UK or live in the green capital of Europe, or maybe find yourself at the west coast of the United States, or maybe at the absolutely side tip of South Africa. It really doesn't matter. Like, there's a unified force field that has nothing to do with any description that we gave about the place that we think that we are. Well, that is a bit mind-boggling, isn't it? It's but also very comforting to realize that there's a unified force field where we're just completely connected. So I love to do some experiments with that too, and I'll see if that is... So I'm going to ask the lady that is from New Zealand here in class to keep one number below 10 in her mind for just a minute or so. And she cannot say it out loud, but she has to remember it. So we can say, guess all together what number she has in mind. So we come back to that later after this class. But it's a fun experiment, you will see. I'm going to see how much communication there is in this, that we come together. How much communication is there? If there is full, complete and whole communication, there would be no, it would not even be a guess what number she would have taken. So interesting experiment. So we continue with class. Okay, so here Master Teacher ends with this, and then I stop with reading that too. I'm going to leave you now within the factory of the hologram in order to show you the quantum moment of your reappearance in time as we attempt to go beyond the first 15 days of the idea that they have become accumulative in your mind in the power of decision you made in regard to yourself. So everyone with me, can you follow this? God is with us everywhere we go, isn't he? God is with me wherever I go. God is with me wherever we go. You know, so that's the one thing that you can remind yourself of. God goes with me wherever I go. In this unified force field, I cannot be separate. It is all one energy thing. See, that is not enough. If we say it like this, you would want to use more words for it to describe what it actually is. Not that, not that the words matter. No, but the understanding can be helpful to expand your mind even more. So I'm going to share this with you in a moment. So it's from the Scientific God Journal. This was written in 2016. It's an abstract from a scientific journal. Spaceless, timeless God and quantum entanglement. Spaceless, timeless God and quantum entanglement. So there's quantum entanglement going on. We'll see what that means. Okay, so here it starts. We say God is all-pervading. God is everywhere. God is everywhere means God is present at each and every point in this universe. Although God is present everywhere, yet it is not the case that God's presence is more at some points of space and less at some other points of space. Rather, we say that God is equally present everywhere. We will say that God is wholly present, fully present, entirely present at each and every point in the universe. As the same God is present at each and every point of the universe, so the distance from any point of space to each and every other point of space should be zero, because the same God is present everywhere. One cannot be distant from one's own self. That the distance from any point of space to each and every point of space is really zero has already been confirmed by science through the phenomena of quantum entanglement. So the above that you just heard is just one type of entanglement, that is spatial entanglement. And here's some really great poetry. So it comes in this scientific journal. I love it. So I'm continuing. Mystics have repeatedly written about this spatial entanglement through their doctrine of interconnectedness of everything. So here's one quote from a poem by Francis Thompson, a British poet. So Francis Thompson is another visitor today. All things by immortal power, near and far, hiddenly to each other linked are, that thou canst not stir a flower without troubling a star. So this was Francis Thompson. I'm not sure how long ago that was, but I will look it up. So all things by immortal power, near and far, hiddenly to each other linked are, that thou canst not stir a flower without troubling of a star. So that's the entanglement idea. It's like you touch one thing and it has a direct relationship with the rest. That would be something like you tickle your toe and you feel it in your neck, or something like that. Like you have these pressure points in your body. You press on them. You press a point in your foot, for instance, and you feel it in your left arm, or like that. So there's a connectedness, and the body is then also almost like an expression of that, or maybe not almost, but totally. It's like it's an unfoldment of the whole universe. It's all in there. Okay, so now we invite Meister Eckhart to share something. But if God is really there, then there should be another type of entanglement, the temporal entanglement. As in any case of the spatial entanglement, there is no real space gap between any 2 points in space. So in case of the temporal entanglement, there should not be any real time gap between any 2 moments in time. Meister Eckhart, it's like the 20th century mystic, has written elaborately about this entanglement while discussing God and time. First, I will present some quotes of his writings. Well, we love to read them. Because you look at this. All that God created 6,000 years ago and even earlier, when he created the world, he created all of them right now. All that God created 6,000 years ago or even earlier, when he created the world, he creates them all right now. There exists only the present instant, a now which is always and without end, is itself new. There is no yesterday, nor any tomorrow, but only now, as it was 1,000 years ago, and as it will be 1,000 years hence. The now wherein God made the world is as near this time as the now I speak in this moment, And the last day is as near this now as was yesterday. All that happened 1,000 years ago, the day of 1,000 years ago, is no more remote in eternity than the moment in which I stand right now. Again, the day will come 1,000 years from now, or in as many years from now as you can count, is no more distant in eternity than this very moment in which I stand presently. So that takes care of that. So that would be the temporal entanglement. It's like it's all in. There can be no time link between what happened yesterday and what is present now. You can say at the same time then, everything is occurring right now. So you're in the middle of the Big Bang, of this, say, the start of the universe must be right now. It cannot happen another moment. So you're actually, it is actually happening in this moment. So that places everything in a whole different light, doesn't it? I love to be, say, exposed to this. I don't know how that is for you. Well, it's all mind-boggling anyway. It's all mind-boggling. So the idea that somebody's here from South Africa to New Zealand to North Europe or anywhere, wherever you find yourself, thinking that there's no space between the distance that you think is there, but that there's absolutely no such thing as a distance between, is already completely mind-blowing and puts your whole world perspective in a whole different loop. You know, it's like that's totally different. The same as time, like you are born each moment, you incarnate each moment, you die each moment, you die continuously. Oh, gone. How long do you think this life is? It's just a flash. There it was. There it was. Here it is. You know, so this shakes around your perspective, my perspective of how things are. Say, you're going to, say, fall into details with your mind and become completely confused about anything, which can happen. That's all right. Or you come to the core of this, like to the center of this, the only place where the stillness can be found and the non-spacious movement, because that's what we're talking about. Like, where's the place where time and space come together? It must be in me. Like, since I'm, in that sense, I'm the center of it. If it doesn't happen in me, where is it going to be? And that's a rhyme too. So that's pretty amazing. So this is great stuff. I love this. I love this to share this with you and come into the experience of, you feel that all your dogma, all your doctrines all go like, okay, that's not how it is in reality. So I can do whatever I want with it. I don't have to throw it overboard. That's not what I'm saying, but it's not going to help you to come into the reality of who you are. You know, there's no information for that. Except the only thing that it isn't, the only thing in which it is helpful is to discover it's not that. It simply is not that. It is not the way that I think everything is. It is not the way that I think time is. It has nothing to do with what I think space and distance is. So you come into this place where there is no distance. Say the 0 point, as they call it in quantum 2, is like it's a 0 point, exactly right there. There's no movement in that. There's no, it's right here, right now. Time and space collapse into one another in a presence. See, the present moment has nothing to do with time. It is not like now is not related to time. Presence is not related to time. No, it's a different dimension altogether. And we dive deeper into that too. So coming back to the idea, and the title of today is like light body, the light body. You see that it becomes a bit easier after all the information you already got to see yourself as a light body. But to give a description of your light body is that it has no boundaries. It has no density. It has no distance. It has no space, or it is all space, and it has all distance, and it has all movement that you can possibly imagine. It's like, it is the same idea as say your light body is not related to the ideas that you hold about it, but you can definitely experience it. So this was the focus of the meeting that we have. Like, we come together to come to a new experience of ourselves, not an understanding, a new experience of ourselves to see to become the reality of who we are, to come in the direct revelation of the reality of who we are. And that cannot be forced, but it can come to us by opening up our minds and seeing all the possibilities, and say exercising with it and feeling it. And it's like, oh yeah, that's actually, yeah, I can do that. So it makes it basically, it's like the undoing of fear related to ideas that you hold about time and space and future and past and solid mass, material sense, as Joel says, material sense, substance, solidity. No, this is a new idea that you can receive about yourself, one that is related to the truth of who you are. So that's so amazing. So then you see the mystics could easily share about that, because what this 0 point that we're talking about, when everything falls into one place, when you become the Big Bang, literally, when you become the nuclear explosion, when you become the all the stillness in the universe, when you are all that, then something new has started. You know, it's like, that can happen in this moment, because basically the thing that we do is coming closer to the point where those two, like space and time, collide into one another and bring you back to the presence, to the dimension of presence. Okay, so in class, I'm going to play a song in class. So when I say in class, I mean I'm closing this video, so I thank you for watching it, and I hope to see you soon. But in class we continue.